All right, everyone. Market is suspicious. It's suspicious. It's hesitant with all the news, but despite that, there are lots of names moving big. Like we had great profits on Irene today, great profits on IBM. I love this full recovery of the previous day's low on IBM. You know, we took it at a key fib level yesterday, ended up defending that level, creating a really nice double bottom in the pre-market that gave us this explosion higher. We now have basically a clean double top to look for an extension over 257 30. So that would be a top watch tomorrow. Ford continuing its march higher and still looking good. You know, $20 was my target here. Really just want to hold this for the long haul. I like HIMS holding over 25. Big thing on HIMS here is to be mindful of the daily structure. So the 1 day still looks really good here. We've got like a failed breakdown. We've entered back into this parallel channel. And so I am looking for maybe we get one more back test that fails before we get a move higher. It is important to note that given the amount of tests through here, I would like this to be shallow. If there is a back test here. If we see something that kind of gives up 25 from here, or if we see a move that climbs all the way up and then gives up 25 again, I'm probably going to have to cut this and it might just hold shares. Shares looking fine. You know, thesis looks fine. I see the daily starting to turn here. I see the weekly has turned here. You know, if you get over 30, maybe you can even get the monthly next month to start to participate as well. A nice turn here would be beautiful, kind of solidifying this really nice bottom here. But it's doing it, you know? I mean, overall, higher lows, you know, that's the larger pattern here. Looks like we might be done with this consolidation. Let's see if we really get the first wave. And I do believe that it would likely be a first wave higher. You could make an argument that this is wave one. It's there. It's got a nice three-wave pattern, too, for a wave two. So if this is wave three, we would be looking for something like 42, 43 coming up. Yeah, 41 would be the key resistance here. So pull back and then maybe pop through that. And then maybe this is part of a much larger structure as well. So we'll keep an eye on it, but I it's behaving well. You know, I don't want to jinx it. This could be a really tough name to trade. Although, honestly, this year we've done a pretty good job of trading that one. Microsoft is still, you know, this double top makes this bull flag a little shaky, but in my opinion, I still have no real reason to cut. Like, we're still over this downside trend line. We haven't broke into this parallel channel again. It's just been really messy, but this looks like accumulation overall. Like, even if we remove all these drawings, it just looks like a period of consolidation with a really wide range. Be mindful that today's low is a pretty major key level here, though. We can see that it's been a point of resistance, it's been a point of support. So if we broke this 409, that's where I'd say, okay, I'm probably going to cut this. All these signals that I have above, though, these are all points at which I actually want to size up on this idea. Reasoning for that is, and the reason I haven't sized up now is because we haven't gotten the setup, but you do have the clean confluence. So, you know, maybe the rest of this week's chap and maybe June is actually when we start to get these moves, but June and July should be really good months for Microsoft. It's gone through this long period of retracement and then consolidation. And the reality is that this company should have major advantages. You know, we just saw today what Meta does on reaction of major job cuts, which, you know, gives a hint to we might be in like the efficiency wave of the AI rally, where businesses really start to cut back on jobs because of AI. And this time, like, for real AI. Not like an argument over weakness in the market, right? You know, IBM also looking really good today. IBM had that like perfect back test back to the bullish EMA. We're getting good confluence here. Again, this is another one where like your weekly and your 2-day are still setting up. So the real move is ahead of us, not behind us. I was a little bit quicker to take profits today just because of the relative weakness in the SPY. And I am watching it for, you know, I'm willing to come back into this name much larger than I have before. You know, the investments that the Trump administration made into Dell and made into Intel. Let's go to our 1 days actually, so that we can effectively paint that picture, right? But we have Intel, then we have Dell, major rallies, right? And now we have IBM, you know, $1 billion invested. And it looks like those stocks before, right? It looks like it's generating the same setup. So I'm waiting for this thing to go parabolic. Worth noting that IonQ and even QBTS, you know, even things further out on the risk curve had really nice back tests today as well. So yeah, man. I mean, I like the way a lot of these are setting up. Nuclear has been a bit difficult, so these might end up being cuts tomorrow. It's been really tough on these because we've been looking for these breakouts. SMR did do a recovery today. UGLO is getting a denial here, but I'm kind of waiting for that daily in the RSI structure to tell me to get out. I don't really have clear like confidence of like, okay, this is not going to work. So I'm willing to take a bit more bleeding there, especially when other positions are doing so well. You know, great profits today because overall portfolio construction is good. You know, we're having some losers. GS been a little bit difficult. You know, GS really not that difficult. It's just they've killed premiums. There's a lot of names like that. Like IBM gave a lot back today, even though price action was fantastic. Just because of the market sideways like this, which we should be mindful, market sideways going nowhere. If we look at the 15-minute here, but VIX is plunging. VIX plunging all day. So that VIX plunging while the market sideways kills premiums as they pull out the volatility cooked into the premiums, right? It's not really not what you want to see. It's a very, very, very boring day in the market. I did have to cut a small position on Qualcomm, and I do kind of want to, you know, it's a nothing burger as far as like P&L is concerned. But that was a pretty brutal pullback, especially after the news that we got yesterday that caused this pop. So I was looking for a continuation of that. That said, it did a really solid recovery today. So this name, in my opinion, does still have this like really nice structure where we could see a continuation, right? You know, I mean, a really nice news driver making new chips, and then if we get new deals today, and it's pulling back. So I kind of want to see if this kind of sets up into like a cup and handle. I'm not willing to call this one done because technically, based off their last earnings report, this is actually a pretty cheap valuation for the name. So I don't want to let it fall off the radar, even though it was really tough to play today. Again, kind of kept it small, but I don't want that one to fall off the radar quite yet. So that's what we're watching. Again, really boring day. Hard to have a decision. You know, you have GDP and PCE coming out tomorrow. I'm not really concerned about those. I expect GDP to be strong. You know, majorly driven by, you know, tech. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll surprise. Maybe I'm underestimating how much manufacturing is getting bludgeoned right now, and consumer demand is dwindling. We see companies like Whirlpool saying that sales are weak, but you know, and we did see some pullbacks, and like Dick's Sporting Goods ended up being a failure. It went back into, it's fallen back into this wedge, so it's kind of died off here. Costco also kind of concerned about the consumer weakness, seeing a substantial pullback, but their earnings is ahead of us, not behind us. Walmart also pulling back. So it looks like there is some fears of demand, but this kind of plays into what we expected, which was the K-shape economy to further expand. Joblessness, destruction, but GDP continues to go higher, and further consolidation of the market into the AI names, into the AI infrastructure, into the companies, and I wouldn't even be surprised if companies like this that initially sell off because of job weakness end up having major comebacks because of efficiencies in warehouses, being able to cut, middlemen out of the management staff, bring those payroll expenses down, and then margins improve across the board because of the utilization of AI. I think we're and maybe I'm too soon. Maybe that comes next year. And actually, the whole rally scenario, we have like another full, 2027 ends up being another nutty year. I will say I'm not opposed to a pullback. It would kind of suck. I'm kind of net long here because everything's telling me to be net long. I'm net long and a little scared. I say only a little because some of these setups, some of these charts are just beautiful, man. They're just so good. So that's it, though. Well, you got any questions, let me know. I will be uploading another video that I was supposed to upload yesterday, but I got distracted. Someone sent me a reminder saying I was supposed to put out a video about interest rates. So I'll put that out tonight as well. So God bless. See you guys in the morning.